Once upon a time, in a quiet corner of a bustling city, a young single mother named Clara lived with her little daughter, Emily. Their small apartment was modest, its walls faded with time, and though it lacked fancy furniture or expensive decorations, it was filled with warmth, laughter, and the smell of love that only a mother's sacrifice can create. Clara worked long hours at a local diner, serving customers with a tired smile, often coming home past midnight with aching feet but a heart full of purpose. Every day she promised herself that no matter how hard life became, she would ensure Emily felt loved, safe, and hopeful. Emily, a bright and cheerful 6-year-old, adored her mother endlessly. She never complained about their small meals or her old clothes. Instead, she found joy in the simplest of things: a bedtime story, a walk in the park, or a drawing made with broken crayons. As Emily's birthday approached, Clara's heart grew heavy. She had seen her daughter gazing longingly at a Barbie doll displayed in the toy store window every day on their walk home. The doll had shiny golden hair, a sparkling pink dress, and a smile that seemed to promise endless adventures. Endless adventures. Emily never asked for it out loud, but her eyes told the story every time she passed by. Clara knew her daughter's wish, but her wallet held barely enough for rent and food. Every night she opened her small purse and counted the coins again and again, hoping somehow they might grow. They never did. Still, she wanted Emily's day to feel special. She baked a tiny cake with what little sugar and flour she had, humming softly to mask her worry. The morning of the birthday arrived. Emily woke up excited, her eyes shining brighter than the candles her mother couldn't afford. Clara smiled and hugged her tightly, whispering, "Happy birthday, my sweet girl." When Emily asked if they could visit the toy store, Clara's heart twisted. She knew she couldn't buy anything, but she also couldn't say no to that hopeful face. So she agreed, thinking perhaps a simple visit could bring her daughter joy. They walked hand in hand through the busy streets until they reached the brightly lit toy store. The shelves were filled with color, laughter, and toys of every kind. Emily ran from aisle to aisle, her giggles echoing like music, her eyes landing once again on the Barbie she had dreamed of. Clara stood quietly behind her, clutching her worn handbag, her eyes misting as she whispered softly, "I can't afford a Barbie for your birthday." Her voice broke as she said the words, and she turned away so Emily wouldn't see the tears. But Emily, wise beyond her years, smiled gently and hugged her mother's waist. "It's okay, Mommy," she said in a small, comforting voice. "I already have the best gift. You will." The simple words pierced Clara's heart. She knelt down and held her daughter close, feeling a mixture of love and heartbreak that only a parent struggling through hard times can truly understand. Unbeknownst to them, a man had been standing nearby, quietly watching the scene unfold. He was tall, dressed neatly in a dark suit, with kind but weary eyes. His name was Richard, the CEO of the toy company that owned the store. He had come that morning for an inspection, but what he saw touched something deep inside him. For years, he had built a successful business, creating toys meant to bring joy, yet he had forgotten what true happiness looked like, until he saw it reflected in the love between a mother and her child. Without saying a word, he called over the store manager and whispered something into his ear. Moments later, the manager returned with a beautifully wrapped box, the same Barbie doll that Emily had long admired. Richard approached the two quietly and knelt beside Emily. "Hi there," he said kindly, his voice gentle. "I think birthdays are meant for dreams to come true. Einzrigget." He handed her the gift with a warm smile. Emily's eyes widened in shock. "Oh, for me?" she asked, barely able to believe it. "Yes," Richard replied softly. "Every little princess deserves her dream." Clara stood frozen, her lips trembling, unable to speak. Tears spilled down her cheeks as Emily carefully unwrapped the gift and gasped when she saw the doll inside. She jumped with joy and hugged it close, then turned and threw her small arms around her mother. "Oh, look, Mommy, it's the one I wanted." Clara finally found her voice, her gratitude overflowing. "Thank you, sir," she whispered, her voice breaking. Richard shook his head gently. "Actually, I think I do," he said, his eyes softening. "When I was a child, my mother worked 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. I never forgot the strength of her love. You remind me of her." The sincerity in his tone made Clara's tears fall freely. He then turned to Emily and said, "Promise me you'll always take care of your mom, okay?" Emily nodded eagerly. That day, something magical happened. Not because of the doll, but because of the compassion shared between strangers. As they left the store, the world seemed a little brighter. Clara held Emily's hand a little tighter, her heart lighter than it had been in years. And Richard, the CEO, who had once been too busy to notice the small miracles of kindness, felt a warmth in his chest he hadn't felt in a long time. He realized that success isn't measured by money or power, but by the smiles you help create. For Clara and Emily, that birthday became a cherished memory, a reminder that even in the hardest times, kindness can appear like a miracle, turning an ordinary day into something extraordinary.